Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, the Honorable Steering Committee and Organizing Committee of the 10th International Conference and Workshop on High Dimensional Data Analysis. Thanks to the moderator who has given me times to present my paper. This is an honor for me to present my paper. I really respect you to come and share knowledge with me in this meeting. I believe some of you have more experience and capability than me. Because I have concurrent activities at the same time, I apologize to presenting this paper in recorded form, but the other researcher team will add a few things about this presentation. Our paper title is the use of online board application and virtual reality videos to increase effectiveness of online scientific approach by Heris Hendriana, Salama Ajahra, and Wahyu Hidayat. The backgrounds of my research. The learning approach requires in the 2013 curriculum a scientific approach, problem-based learning, project-based learning, and discovery learning. Online learning demands during the pandemic COVID-19. Some problems in online learning, in effective interaction, to change the teacher paradigm in offline and online learning, student and teacher adaptation to new situation and habits. Change offline to online makes the intensity of teacher meeting with students directly reduced so that student motivation tends to be low. To learn new material, new subjects, the scientific approach requires a context that suits students' reading knowledge. The ability measure is the study where mathematical connection and writing descriptive text as well as student learning motivation. And with online scientific approach, online board application, virtual reality videos. The research purposes to find out how effective learning is by using a scientific approach assisted by online video virtual reality board application and online scientific approach assisted by workshop, but in improving mathematical connection skills and the ability to write descriptive text. And the second, to find out how student learning motivation is when using learning with a scientific approach assisted by a board application from virtual reality. Scientific approach stays with online board application and virtual reality videos. The first is watch virtual reality. The student watch virtual reality video using Peerbox, YouTube, social media, and the others. The second, ask about observation. And the third, reasoning the result of observation, processing data and information from observation. Summarize the result of the observation, communicating with observation through text, namely and descriptive text. The indicator of writing descriptive text, student understand and the definition of the description text, understand the structure and language rules of the description text. Student can write a descriptive text by the structure of the description text, title, opening, content, and closing. And the third, the student can write the contents of the description text by the language rules of the description text, including vocabulary, sentence, structure, and fair use of Indonesian spelling. Student, and the last is the student can write a descriptive text that corresponds to the objects being observed. The indicator of mathematical connection, the first is recognizing and utilizing the relationship between ideas in mathematics. The second, understanding how idea in mathematics relates to and underline one another to produce a coherent whole. Recognizing and applying mathematics in context outside mathematics. Learning motivation. Learning motivation is, or motivation to learn, is the tendency of individuals to have an interest in and a sense of pleasure in learning activities, so that it can cause change in knowledge, skill, and behavior. The indicator of learning motivations include student curiosity, interest, feelings of pleasure, student involvement, and student attention. The research is in this research, method in this research is a quasi-experiment study with a pre-test post-test design. Pre-test post-test designs. The research subjects consisted of 50 junior high school students in West Bandung, with 25 students using the online scientific approach assisted by online board application and virtual reality videos. 25 other students using the online scientific approach assisted by worksheet or LKS. The effectiveness criteria are seen from the average score of the students' ability exceeds the minimum completeness criteria. The average normalist gain for students' ability is at least in the medium category. Classical completeness occurs about 80%, above 80%. The ability of students who use the online scientific approach assisted by online board application and virtual reality videos is better than students who use the online scientific approach assisted by worksheet or LKS. Result and discussion. In this table, the student ability will be improved using the scientific approach assisted by online board application and virtual reality video compared to those using the online scientific approach assisted by student worksheets, whether it's on a mathematical connection or writing descriptive text. The mathematical connection ability and the ability of write text descriptions the average score of the final test of the experimental and control classes exceeded the minimum completeness criteria. The minimum completeness criteria. And both of in mathematical connection ability and ability of descriptive text, the normals the normals again appearance for the experimental class was in the medium category, and the counter group was in the low category. In the low category, the mathematical connections, the and ability to write descriptive text in the experimental class are better than in the control class. Better than in the control class. The classical completeness of the experimental class, yeah, but for the mathematical connection ability and the ability to write descriptive text was above 80%. 80%. The mathematical connection and the writing descriptive text. In contrast, for the school, the control class, for the control class is these two ability are below 80%. Below 80%. And for motivation to learning motivation, in this table, it is illustrated that learning motivation will be increased using the scientific approach assisted by online board application and virtual reality video compared to those using the online scientific approach assisted by student worksheets. Whether it is in the field of mathematics or Indonesian language. For learning motivation in the field of mathematics and Indonesian language, the average score for the experimental and control classes exceeds the minimum completeness criteria. The minimum completeness criteria. Motivation to learn in the experimental class is better than in the control class. In experiment class, then better than control class. Yeah. Discussion of our research. The experimental class, which uses the online scientific approach assisted by online board application and virtual reality videos, meets for learning effectiveness criteria. In contrast, the control class that use the online scientific approach assisted by worksheets in equally effective, only fulfilling one criterion, namely an average score of ability to exceed the KKM. Thus, learning in the experimental class is more effective than learning in the control class, both in the field of mathematics and Indonesia language. ICT-based learning improves student performance in online classroom over time. Bogikian, Wipti, and Mortagi, 2008. And then the learning motivation of junior high school student whose learning uses the online scientific approach assisted by online board application and virtual reality video fulfills the four criteria for learning effectiveness. Whereas for the control class using the online scientific approach assisted by worksheet using the scientific approach assisted by ICT media is better when compares the learning using the scientific approach only. The use of online board application and virtually accompanied by contextual problems is a new experience that can encourage student curiosity and curiosity. According to Huawei ST curiosity can generate motivation to learn. Conclusion of our research: learning using the scientific approach assisted by online board application and virtual reality video is more effective than learning using the online scientific approach assisted by worksheet board in improving mathematical connection skills and the ability to write descriptive text and student learning motivation. For the Indonesian field of study, its effectiveness is better than in the field of mathematics study. To find out the step for using online board application and virtual reality videos will be demonstrated by Iis Salamaga. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Virtual reality is a multimedia technology that allows a video to be observed almost as real, and the observer feels the real environment. Usually, VR running 3D video and also 4D equipment. In classroom learning, especially in learning that use a scientific approach, VR video is used to be observed objects that cannot be presented in the classroom, such as underwater, plants, built, and others, such as observation made in a learning descriptive text. This process is carried out at the observation stage. After making observation, students are expected to get a detailed description of the object to be described. How to use VR reality? VR reality is run on a smartphone with a very good screen quality, so that it can be displayed 3D videos. Before use, VR video must be on the smartphone first. In the existing learning case, video can be downloaded on the online testboard application. Can also be copied manually from the computer or downloaded from the internet. Next, the smartphone is installed to the VR box to make observations. Students can choose what video to watch, but attaching the VR box to their eyes and attaching a safety guard so they are comfortable. The use of audio will also make the use of VR more interesting and feel real. After making observations, students just need to proceed to the next stage of learning. Online taskboard. The online taskboard is a mini learning management system that focuses on online tasks for students. There are pleased to entities that are users of the online taskboard, namely teachers and students. Teachers allowed to register, enter, and create a task for students in the application. Students can register, view tasks given by the teacher, and do assignment in the form of text, image, documentation, audio, and video. Students can interact with each other in the work they do, such as providing feedback, giving ratings, and grades. students will be automatically joining a gamification that allows students to actively compete in the application to get certain levels in the application. Teachers can perform analytics on student work, student activities, and learning activities as whole. If you are a teacher, the first step that must be done after registering and entering the application is to create an assignment and material by clicking the test menu, then clicking at the test button. And then material can be uploaded in the form of description, in the form of text, image, or videos. After the material is made, then following assignments are added. In scientific learning, this material can also be the form of VR videos, which can be directly downloaded and observed through the VR box. On the test page, in this case, the teacher simply writes down in the assignment that must be done by student. For example, the comment to provide an explanation of structure of the description text and the rules of language description text. Then, click the Save button. The application will be automatically creates an assignment, unique code, which the teacher will then share with students. Furthermore, the teacher monitors assesses the student works and activities. If you are a student, the first step is to register and log into the application. Then, go to the task menu and enter the code that has been shared by the teacher. Students that read the instruction given in the test. And then students answer and carry out interaction according to task. For example, linking description of descriptive text, ranging from definition, structure to language rule. Then, the result of the work are sent via the application in the form of text, image, sound, or video. For example, students give a verbal presentation which is recorded via video. This video is then sent via the application. And then, students can also see the result of other people's assignments, provided that students have done their assignment. In this process, students can provide response, assessment, and discuss. Every activity that is carried out will get a reward in the form of points, or also a point deduction if it is considered to have made a mistake. Students can see the leaderboard to find out the gamification assignment in the application. Another feature of this application besides online tests, the online test bar application also provides a digital library feature that can be accessed by student community features for communicating with each other. So, that online learning will be very helpful as a medium for sharing and discussion. The combination of using VR video and the taskbar application is expected to be an alternative solution for learning in the current pandemic. This is because both of them run in an online environment, especially the limitation of students leaving the house to be observed. An object can be solved using VR. The use of the taskbar application is also expected to be more interesting with the existence of gamification, so the students don't get bored of learning during the pandemic.